Good evening. It's 5:01 p.m. and welcome to the Illinois Solar for All Grassroots Education Training. I'm Pastor Scott Onque, the Policy Director for Faith in Place. And we're so glad you have joined us this evening for this comprehensive education around Solar for All and the benefits of solar in your community. Well, let's start first of all with who is Faith in Place. I'm sure that you have connected through our website or through invitation. And so we really want you to know who Faith in Place is. Well, Faith in Place is an organization that's 20 years old. And as we are in our 20th year, we are excited about our Rooted for Justice. We are an organization that serves diverse people of all faiths, leading the environment movement towards justice. Faith in Place's mission, Faith in Place empowers Illinois people of all faiths to be leaders in the caring for the earth, providing resources to educate, connect, and advocate for healthier communities. So let's get into our Solar for All presentation. And as we get into the Solar for All presentation, I will allow room for our questions. I will pause at certain points to take questions. If there are no questions, I will continue. And then at the end, we'll again check for questions. So we are starting with Solar 101. And so first of all, what is solar? What is solar energy? Well, electromagnetic energy transmits from the sun. The sun delivers more energy to the earth in 1 hour than is currently used in 1 year. That's amazing because that is an untapped resource of energy that we can use in order to power up our houses, our businesses. And so as you probably heard about solar, it's about to take off even greater, especially in the state of Illinois. And so we look at solar energy. It's best to understand how solar works. So first of all, we want to talk about how solar is measured. Solar energy is measured by watts. And then there are 1,000 watts in a kilowatt. And the capacity size of a solar system is typically measured in kilowatts. And so kilowatt hours measure energy being used or produced. And so that's how we determine the use of your energy on your utility bill. It's actually determined in kilowatts. And so when we look at the availability of solar, we really want to understand actually how it actually works. And so what does, it works by photovoltaic energy, or so photo plus voltaic, the sun and current electricity brings that one word. And so photovoltaic refers to the process of converting the sun's energy into energy that you can use in your homes, on your properties. It's common to see a solar system referred to as a solar PV system. As we continue, what are the main components of the solar system? Well, first we have the panels, and those are typically put on your roof or in a solar array. We have what they call the mounting system, and the solar panels are mounted on a mounting system. There's the inverter, and then there is the performance monitoring system. And then sometimes there are batteries. Some systems actually have batteries that actually store the energy. So what are your PV cells made of? Well, PV cells are predominantly silicone. They're made in China, they're made in USA. This type of silicone device or panel normally has a 25-year use of life. Its efficiency, the percentage of solar energy is converted into electricity through that solar panel. There is a degradation rate. And so as the solar panels get older, they produce less energy over time, but the typical life of a solar panel is 25 years, so you don't have to worry about it running out of energy anytime soon. So let's talk about how the voltage is generated. Well, you see a picture of the sun there, and the sun transmits the energy or the voltage to the panels, and then it's converted into your inverter. And so that's part of your solar system. So your panels are capturing the energy from the sun. So the main components of your solar panels are solar cells. Several cells are wired together for a solar module, and that makes your panel. A group of solar panels are wired together, and it's called a solar array. Several cells, again, are wired to form the module. The group of modules are physically connected to a panel. The group of panels are wired together, and we call it a string, and now you have what they call a solar array. So now as we continue, you'll see a PV panels can be combined like batteries, so they connect them together. Now, the bigger your house is, or the bigger your property is, the more solar panels you will need in order to provide the necessary energy in order to keep your house powered up. And so as we continue, the main components of a solar array starts with attaching the solar panels to the mounting system. The mounting system is what attaches and positions solar panels on the roof of a building or to the ground, okay? Now, as you can see, these beautiful solar panels, and I don't know if you have gone and seen any houses that have these solar panels on them, but they're very nice to look at because everyone's wondering, well, what are those? Well, they're solar panels, and that house now is producing their own energy, okay? And so the other components of the solar system, as you can see, would be a solar field, and that there in that picture indicates a big project where normally community solar would be generated. Okay, so as we continue, so there's an inverter. Now the inverter is very important because the inverter turns DC from the solar cells into alternative current AC electricity. So this is important because you need an inverter in order to process the energy that's being made. Now continuing, there also is the inverter is located away from the solar panels, normally down in an area in your basement of your building, probably near your electrical box. And so that's how that will look, a typical, okay, typical inverter setup. So as we continue in the main components, there's a performance monitoring system. The monitoring system is typically a web-based tool that provides detailed information about the performance of a solar PV system. It allows the system's owners to track electricity production and identify performance issues. Now, many people get a kick out of this because this performance monitoring system can be loaded on their smartphones or their smart devices, and it can let them know at a moment's time how much electricity they're using, even if they're away from the house. As we continue, again, let's just do a quick review. How does solar PV system work? DC electricity, inverter, the electrical panels, and then, whoops, lights your house up. The lamp turns on because of the energy that is being produced from your solar panel. As we continue, we say what happens to excess electricity, because now typically you will produce more electricity than you need. Well, that is a typical case. Most homes or properties that install a solar system are going to stay connected to the electrical grid, which means there's a flow of electricity and to the grid. Now, sometimes the system will create a lot more electricity than needed, and don't worry, because that's a benefit to the homeowner. If they have a battery system, they can store it there on property, but if they don't have a battery system, there is a thing called net metering. And it's an agreement between the homeowner and which is you, if you get solar, and your electricity supplier, best known as ComEd or Ameren in the state of Illinois. And the net metering agreement allows you to sell back your excess energy that's generated, and you will get a credit on your electricity bill for the energy that you produce in excess of your usage. Okay, so now So many people have asked the question, well, is solar safe? Is solar safe? Well, definitely. It's the cleanest form of energy that we know. Panels, first of all, must meet an inspection and testing standard. Secondly, approved vendors will install them and must go through a rigorous program to be vetted to make sure that they meet all of the requirements, including quality workmanship, and also make sure that they're guaranteeing each participant savings. And then there's a great consumer protection program in the Solar for All program. So as we continue, it's important to understand not only is solar safe, but it can bring you great benefits. So the question may be, how can I benefit from solar energy? Well, it's efficient, it's affordable, it's clean, it's a great source of energy. It protects the environment. It creates numerous jobs in our communities. It can provide significant energy savings on your bill, both to the property owner as well as renters. And then it helps protect against future energy cost increases because you are now in control of the energy that's being produced by the sun. And that's like a win-win situation if you ask me. So what are the environmental benefits of solar? Well, I already mentioned that it's a very clean way of producing energy. It reduces the carbon dioxide or the fossil fuel footprints in the environment. It allows us to have less pollution, cleaner air, as well as cleaner water. So using solar panels instead of conventional forms of energy reduces the amount of carbon footprint that we have been doing. So as we move to the next segment, if you have any questions, just use your raise your hand button and we'll be able to address those questions. But as we move to the next section, we want to talk about the Illinois Solar for All program basics. Now this program itself is a program that was made possible by the Future Energy Jobs Act. It's called FEJA. Illinois Solar for All program's goal was to increase participants in the solar energy arena as we bring projects on serving low income and environmental justice communities. So this is a very important program. The FEJA law was enacted or took effect in June of 2017. It was passed in the previous year in 2016, and it's been rolling out vigorously since 2018. And so we want to make sure that we get everyone that can participate involved. Now your program administrators there for the Solar for All program, the IPA, Illinois Power Agency, has employed Elevate Energy to be the administrator of the program. So Elevate Energy works with partners, and you'll see those partners there on the screen. And the work to be done is that Elevate Energy will help vet the vendors, will get the word out about the program. It has partnered with organizations such as Faith in Place for us to do education around Solar for All so that we can reach as many people as possible as we continue to go into communities that they may not be able to reach. And so there's a great role for us to play in getting the information out. So what is the Illinois Solar for All? Okay, it's a low-income solar incentive program. Remember that, low-income solar incentive program offers eligible participants the benefit of solar energy with no upfront costs. Let me repeat that. It offers the participants the benefits of solar energy with no upfront costs in electricity savings and consumer protections. Last year about this time, I did a presentation and we got quite a few individuals signed up for Solar for All. And after some leaps and hurdles of getting everything done, I'm happy to say that those individuals are poised to get their solar panels installed on their roofs, and there's no upfront cost to the participants. Now also, it also accelerates workforce development. there's been a lot of training around the Solar for All opportunity. We have cohorts where we train individuals to learn how to be solar technicians. In turn, those individuals are ready to participate in the program so that they can be hired by vendors that participate in the program. Also, keep in mind, 25% of the funding is allocated to solar projects in environmental justice communities. Now, keep in mind, the environmental justice community is defined as a community that actually is 80% of the median income of the area. And so many of the communities that we work in are environmental justice communities, and that's why we've been able to reach so many individuals, okay? So there's also sub-programs in the Illinois Solar for All program. And this is important because low-income distributive generation, that simply means a single-family homeowner or a multi-unit building owner has an opportunity to have solar panels installed on site, rooftop or ground mounted, okay? Secondly, there's the nonprofit and public facilities portion of the program. And this allows nonprofit organizations that are in environmental justice communities to participate in the program also. And they can get rooftop solar or ground mounted solar panels. And then there's low income community solar, and that allows income eligible households, renters or homeowners or building owners, they can subscribe and share in the saving opportunities that a community solar array produces. And so as those projects come online, anyone in the ComEd or Ameren customer profile will be able to ask to be part of a community solar benefit. And so you'll start savings there. And then there's community solar pilots. This is the 4th sub-program, but Elevate does not administer that program, okay? So as we move forward, let's look at what community solar is. So community solar development is solar panels that are installed in a suitable location somewhere in the what? Community. Anyone with an electric bill can subscribe to be a part of the solar, community solar array and start accessing energy from solar energy in their homes. And each subscriber is credited with the electricity created by their share of the solar array right on their electric bill, regardless of where they live, okay? Keep that in mind. So everyone can eventually participate in getting solar, even if you're just a solar, community solar participant. So who's eligible? Let's look at that. Who's eligible for this program? It's a statewide program, first of all. That means as far north as Illinois goes to as far south as Illinois goes. The program is available for the Illinois residents. Residential property owners and renters with an income of 80% or less of the area median income qualifies. That designates you as an environmental justice community. For community solar, they can also live within HUD census tracts. A HUD census tract is a tract that HUD itself has identified during the typical census. Now, just talking about census, this is a year of census, and that's why filling out your census is important, because HUD can determine what the census tracts are or the HUD tracts are. And so keep that in mind. Now, nonprofit and public facilities serving low income and environmental justice communities. Many churches, houses of faith are located in underserved communities, and they can benefit from as a participant in the Illinois Solar for All program. So as we move forward, it's important to look at this program: low income community solar, nonprofit organizations, public facilities, as well as low income distributive generation. And so there is a website that we'll share, but it's www.illinoissolarforall.com, and then / for residents and dash Illinois. I'll put that back up, but that's the website if you needed more information. But let me just give you a quick a quick oversight of these programs. Now, people who are interested can check out the program, but I'm leaving that up for you so you can look at those benefits for the Illinois Solar for All. Again, low-income community solar, nonprofit organization, as well as low-income distributed generation. Now, let's look at Illinois itself. The red dots, next slide, the red dots that are on the map indicate those are environmental justice communities. EJ communities, keep in mind, are at higher risk of exposure to pollution based on the environment and social economic factors. And so this is why the program is targeted to these communities, because they have been largely most affected by pollution and by the effects of climate change and then historic injustices that have occurred in these communities. And so the Illinois Solar for All is targeting those communities to make sure that they're able to participate in the Solar for All program. And as you can see, the dots are scattered throughout the whole state of Illinois. And so as we continue, how does the program work? Well, there are pre-qualified solar vendors. These vendors have been pre-qualified. That means they've been vetted to be an approved vendor. They must go through a very vigorous vetting process. And so when that vendor comes to your house, or if you seek that vendor out, they first of all must guarantee that there are no upfront costs to the customer. They cannot tell you that you got to put money down. If they tell you that, that is not a Solar for All program. Also, there are many consumer protections inside the Solar for All program. That means that they're trying to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, to make sure that there are no loopholes where consumers get cheated by participating in the Solar for All program. These requirements are to safeguard against predatory sales or unfair contracts or even poor quality workmanship. So the eligible participant is safe for participating in the Solar for All program. I cannot stress that enough, because I don't want anyone to think that they're at risk of getting cheated like what happened when the energy programs everyone was out there selling all types of energy, and many people got inflated rates after the introductory rate. So all of the programs are protected. All of the programs are monitored by the Illinois Solar for All program. And again, your approved vendor list is located on the Solar for All website. Now, what is the role of the approved vendor? They have sole responsibility of implementing the program. They have sole responsibility of explaining to you how the program works. So all aspects of the Solar for All installation is done through the approved vendor. That's why they had to be vetted, because they have to be very knowledgeable how the program works. They have to make sure that you meet the requirements. That means a roof inspection. Do you meet the income requirements? Your neighborhood meets the requirements. They have to go through the 25-page document of the consumer protection. And before you sign, they have to take you through the document to make sure you are fully aware of what you're getting into. Also, they have the requirement of approving the site. They have the requirement of system design. They know by measuring your house and the use of your electricity, examining your electric bill, how much energy you're typically going to use. They can't oversell you a solar array. They have to put a solar array on your house that typically meets the needs of the consumer. And so we are trusting, since they are vetted, that they will do the right thing, and I'm sure they will. So as we continue, the approved vendor, this is a big takeaway. There are a lot of mechanisms in place to ensure the consumer protections, but no matter what, solar installation is a big investment, and participants should consider this carefully, as with any other large home project. Of course, there's going to be some interruption, people on your roof getting things ready. understanding how all of this works. And so that's why you should definitely read the 25-page document before you sign on the dotted line. Now, how do potential participants sign up? Well, right here, participants work directly with approved vendors. A list of approved vendors are published on the Illinois Solar for All website. That's Illinois SFA.com. Okay. Now, as a grassroots organization, I cannot recommend to you an approved vendor over another. That would be unethical. And so I have to direct you as a consumer to the website and allow you to go through the approved vendors, and you choose which vendor you may. Give them a call, see how they respond to your phone calls, set up a meeting, maybe look at a couple approved vendors so you can get a good feel of the vendor to make sure that you are ready to work with that particular company. And so you do your homework by going to IllinoisSolarForAll.com and look up the vendors and choose a vendor. But if they are listed as a person that participates in the program you want to participate in, don't worry, you can trust their work. So participant benefits, no upfront costs, as I said, required savings for all participants, comprehensive consumer protections, comprehensive vendor requirements, vendor management and installation and inspection of the work. So again, you benefit for participating in the Illinois Solar for All program. Once again, I want to share with you the website. Here's your main resource, IllinoisSolarForAll.com. That's where you'll see your consumer protection tabs, brochures, your vendors, your vendor manuals, okay? Now, I'm gonna give you a minute to write that down just in case you didn't get a chance to write that down earlier. All right, let's continue. We're about halfway there. Qualifying for Illinois Solar for All. This is important because not everyone qualifies for the program. Let's see how we qualify. Low-income communities. Illinois Solar for All serves low-income community households across the state by funding new solar generation systems. These systems benefit qualifying households, nonprofits, and public facilities. Also, environmental justice communities. Again, Illinois Solar for All allocates 25% of all the incentive dollars and resources for designated environmental justice communities across the state. And remember, I said environmental justice community is one that is 80% or less of the median income of the area. Okay, let's continue. Overall eligibility. Low-income distributed generation, residential households, or multifamily dwellings. Same thing for a low-income person, 80% of the area median income. Nonprofits just located in a EJ community. So many houses of worship are located in EJ communities. Organizations that are located in EJ communities. And then there's low-income community solar, which again, the HUD census tract may identify you as a participant in the community solar, or you yourself in your household, less than 80% of the area median income. So that's how you qualify. That's the starting ground. All right, so overall eligibility continue. Low income, distributive generation, residential households, or multifamily dwellings. There's a third-party program, the tax transcript, tax return pay stub. This is your proof of eligibility. Nonprofit facilities, your location. And then the low-income community solar, again, tax transcripts, tax returns, or qualifying being in a HUD zone, okay? Let's continue. So, role of the approved vendor related to qualifying, collects the basic information. So when they come to you, they're gonna collect all of the supporting documentation. They wanna see a copy of your electric bill. They wanna see proof of income. so that they know that you're eligible for the program. They know whether your a nonprofit is designated in an EJ community because they already have the maps. So they will determine right away, and they will communicate to you the results of their findings to let you know whether you qualify for the program. Let's continue. So now the basic information contains consent, verification of documentation, okay, date of birth of household members in some cases, again, any certification that's necessary. Who can sign? Head of household or the property owner or an authorized signer. Handwritten and signed, and then saved as a PDF and submitted. They are responsible for submitting all of the documentation to the Illinois Solar for All program for approval. Okay, let's continue. So low income distributed generation. I pretty much covered that, but again, verification method, third party program. That means if you are a recipient of LINK, if you are a recipient of Social Security, that's a third party program. That means just for being in that program, you're automatically eligible by way of income. Tax transcript, that means what are your taxes, the reported income, or a copy of your tax returns or proof of income by way of your pay stubs. Okay, that's just your 4506T form. You'll have to stay along on that. They'll bring that to you for verification, okay? So now, nonprofit organizations and public facilities. Basic information forms, verification method, location, EJ community, that's important. Your mapping tools, organizational. So where's your, there could be some qualifications because of how you engage in certain communities that could qualify you. And so the vendor would help you through that process. We're trying to get as many people qualified as humanly possible, so they'll work with you to let you know if you do. All right, so there's also some online mapping tools as we move forward. When you look at the online mapping tools, you'll see that there's information. Let's move to the next slide real quick. There you go. All right, so learn this information that's there will help you again zero in on whether you qualify. Okay, let's continue. So now the environmental justice self-designation, just in case you fall out of all of the qualifications, but you still feel that your organization is environmental justice community, there is what they call self-designation. There's some communities that maybe the HUD map missed. If you can provide documentation that you are self-designated as an environmental justice community, you can still be considered. Up there on the slide, it's the IllinoisSolarForAll.com/app. You can also find that on the website of the Illinois Solar for All. You can just search for a self-designation and they can give you the form that you would need to self-designate. But again, that's on the website. All right, let's move forward. So Illinois, so the low-income community solar is available to those, again, residents that are in EJ communities, meet 80% of the less of the income eligibility. But in order to verify that, they need some basic information. So there is a verification method. Again, the HUD census tract designating your particular area as a EJ community. Third-party program, if you receive benefits from state or federal, that's a third-party program. Again, tax transcripts, tax reforms, IRS tax stubs or pay stubs. So that would, again, get you through the qualification, and the vendor will sign you up for the community solar. And so then you will be eligible for that. All right. So let's move forward. Now, please keep in mind that this is sensitive data that you're allowing someone to see. And so please be assured that your vendor is obligated to make sure that no one sees your information. It's secure, is electronically transmitted to the Illinois Solar for All program through a secure portal. It's password protected. After the paperwork is transmitted electronically to the program, is the requirement that it's destroyed the data. And so don't worry about your information being out there in some place that's unknown, because the program is obligated to make sure that they secure your information, and then any paper documentation is destroyed after determination of your eligibility. All right, so we're coming near to a close, but I want to talk about consumer protections, because that's really important. I really want to remove a lot of the doubt that has happened around programs in the past. So as we move forward, don't forget, low-income communities have historically been underserved by programs that offer resources and incentives for energy and housing and access to capital, often targeted with false or deceptive marketing practices, predatory sales, unfair contracts, and poor quality workmanship. Consumer protection guidelines require that the information shared with the participants is clear and accurate to ensure a transparent and positive experience for the participants, and to mitigate any risk that are out there, okay? So let's move forward. So listen, there is consequences of a violation by approved vendors. So if you have any shady players that went through the vetting process, but then all of a sudden start working against the program, first of all, they can be reported, and they will first receive probation to clean up their act. Then there's progressive discipline, and then barring, suspension, revocation, or other limiting of participation in the program. And then finally referring of fraud cases to the Office of the Attorney General, which in turn the Attorney General can go and sue them for their unethical practices. And so again, remember, those consumer practices or protections are in place for you. All right, but now keep in mind, there are financial requirements. Since we've said this more than once, no upfront costs prior to electrification for any Illinois Solar for All program or financing models. So if someone says, I need you to put down X amount of dollars for us to start you in the program, automatically get rid of that vendor. That is not a Solar for All approved vendor. And if they're on the approved vendor list, it's time to report them right away. Also, ongoing costs and fees by the participant, that's you, will not exceed 50% of the value of the energy generated by the participant's share of the system. So let me break that down for you. So if you are normally paying $150 a month for your electricity prior to going on board with Solar for All, after the system is installed, your bill, including the payback of the system, will not exceed $75. Do you hear what I'm saying? So the vendors must incorporate your electrical spending, and to guarantee that once your system is in place, even during your payback, you will receive a 50% savings on your bill. That's wonderful news. As to look at that final bullet point on here, it says, value will be determined by the participant's first year net metering credits for distributed generation projects connected directly to the participant's electric meter, or indirectly for qualified multifamily buildings through reduced rent, stabilized rent, or through other services or improvements provided to the participant by property owners or managers. So you are in a win-win situation there, all right? So we talked about no upfront costs. We talked about that. Now, also, loans for low-income distributed generation systems may not be secured by the program's participant homes or home equity. That means they can't put a lien on your house in order to put the solar in. They can't put you in a debt situation that you will lose your home because you have solar panels. They have to trust that the payback that is guaranteed through the Illinois Solar for All will meet the requirements necessary so that they will come out on the winning end, but definitely you will always stay on the winning end. Remember, the financing amounts, terms, and conditions must be based on an assessment of the program's participant ability to repay the debt as defined by Regulation Z, which is a federal rule that implements aspects of the Truth in Lending Act and the Dodd-Frank Act. That means there can't be any bait or switch in the process. Tell you one thing and do another. All right? So the approved vendor marketing guidelines and behavior. Again, they're guided by a vetted process, and they have to adhere to making sure that, first of all, no false or misleading statement. They can't overpromise and underdeliver, okay? Then, secondly, the Illinois Solar for All is a state program that provides an incentive for solar PV systems that serve low-income and environmental justice communities. If you sign a contract with us and our application to the Illinois Solar for All is approved, the PV system we install on your roof will be part of the Illinois Solar for All program. Not okay for them to say, we represent the Illinois Solar for All program. The Illinois Solar for All program pays incentives to low-income households. The Illinois Solar for All program gives RECs to participants. The Illinois Solar for All program gives out free solar panels. They cannot say that. The goal is no upfront cost to make sure that you are participating in the program, and then they are guaranteeing the 50% savings on your electricity, normal electricity spending, okay? Now, there are standard disclosures that are important for you to read, generated by approved vendors for potential participants, required for all low-income distributed generation projects. And these are all located on the approved vendor portal at the illinoissolarforall.com/for vendors/. Each program participant must receive the completed standard disclosure form prior to contract execution. If they don't give you a disclosure form, don't sign anything. Approved vendors is required to submit a signed ink or e-sign for potential participants, copy of the disclosure form when applying for a REC contract. And remember, I said earlier, that is up to the vendor to take you through the entire process. They may ask for documentation, but you don't have to do all of the legwork. Once you pick your vendor, it's up to your approved vendor to do the necessary work. All right? So now that we're at the end, consumer protection, distributed generation, right here with our last few minutes. So there's standard disclosures for income distributed generation projects. Participants must see standard disclosures at least 7 days prior to the contract execution. That means they can't rush you into making a decision. They have to give you time for review. Review DG standard disclosure form together, handout provided. And then again, it's located on the Illinois Solar for All website. All right. So now also as we continue, there are warranties, maintenance, and system removal. There's a lease agreement that says, or lease or power purchase agreements. Contracts must provide participants with the option at the end of their lease or power purchase agreement period that the system components will be removed at no cost to the participant, or the participant may purchase the system at a price specified in the disclosure and contract. Now, many times that will say you can purchase the system for $1 so that there will be no continual cost, because at that point you have used up this, used up the life of the system. And so, but you can still get production out of the system even after 25 years. So the participant must renew the contract at terms specified in the disclosure as well as the contract. All right. And so here's the great news: saving expectations. I talked about it a little bit, but let me just review real quick. Needs to move to action: educate, access, a clear route to sign up, no upfront costs, Illinois Solar for All funds to cover large portions of the costs. Residents are guaranteed to save. Understanding savings, how will this be determined? We need to also, they'll explain to you differences in funding structure, costs, responsibilities of the owner, and then there must be trust. History of our errors, door-to-door solicitation. We want to make sure that you're not getting swindled. So empowering you as well as us to make sure that we are educating you on the whole program, so you know that you're participating in a legitimate program. And also the official savings explanation on this slide here. The Illinois Solar for All program ensures that all qualified participants see savings by requiring that your costs and fees, now remember this, are no more than half of the value you see coming from the energy produced from the on-site solar array. Again, they want to make sure you receive a 50% savings in your electricity. And then adding another wrinkle, regular utility bills. Residents will have two bills. The reason why you have two bills, you have a bill that says I'm paying back my solar array, but also this is the bill of my energy. And many times your energy bill will be nothing because you're producing your own energy. But you have fees associated with your utility connection, and you have fees associated with your utility bills. And you can look on your bills now and see the numerous fees of delivery and things like that. Very important for residents to schedule an assessment. Get 2 to 3 proposals from different vendors. Don't go with the first vendor. Talk to 2 or 3 of them. They'll give you all of them will sit down with you, tell you what your best course of action is. You make the choice on who you feel most comfortable with. Please don't call me and ask me to recommend a vendor, because I cannot do that for you, okay? So you want to do the homework. You want to make sure you vet your vendors by having some conversation with them, who you feel comfortable can do the job for you, okay? And so then a relationship with approved vendors, that's important. There are great people on there, great vendors that we know, that we work with, but again, it's up to you to make that decision. So participation in the Adjustable Block program and the Illinois Solar for All program will take place through approved vendors. I said this over and over again. So again, the approved vendor is the entity that is contractually counterparty with either the Illinois Power Agency or the Illinois Electric Utility for RECs, receives payment from IPA or utility for REC deliveries, responsible for submitting documentation to the program administrator, maintaining collateral requirements, and providing ongoing information and reporting, coordinates the downstream information from installers, developers, as well as individual system owners. So they have a big job as a vendor. So the role of the approved vendor continued. Adjustable Block program, Illinois for All, develops business models that maximize the benefit to the participants, ensure participants are informed and protected. Illinois Solar for All only. This is the Illinois Solar for All program, responsible for income verification and job training requirements, works closely with low-income and environmental justice communities served, contributes to the development of a long-term solar market in distressed communities, and guarantees savings for the participants. So, the funding of the program that happened through, again, the Future Energy Jobs Act, but the Illinois Solar for All approved vendors, you can see there the slide, and those are the approved vendor directory, so you can look that up. All right. So one of the things that happened with this program is job training. And Faith in Place is a proud partner of cohorts where we have trained at this point over 60 individuals to do, through our cohort partnerships, to do solar technician training. Now this is important because this puts people who are normally not exposed to jobs in this community or this area, the opportunity to train in solar. So as we move to the next slide, the Illinois Solar for All Job Training Program promotes equitable access to solar jobs. It helps make solar more affordable for low-income and environmental justice communities. But as you can see in this picture, it's training individuals to understand how to install solar arrays. And so this, again, we have trained over 60 individuals at this point, and we're continuing to look at future cohorts as we continue to train. So what job training opportunities are available? Well, training available for individuals and small businesses. Training programs offer electrical apprenticeship programs, customer service and administrative training, solar installation training, job readiness training, and then also locate a job training provider in the Illinois Solar for All program. Now, you can reach out to me if you know individuals that may want to start getting trained in solar. We are graduating a class this month, and then we start again recruiting for our next class. And so if at the end of this, you'll see a slide with my email, and I would encourage you to reach out to me so that you can refer those individuals to us. Continuing, what are the requirements for the contractors and developers who hire trainees? Well, these contractors are responsible for hiring those that we bring out of the training program. And so approved vendors must demonstrate that at a minimum, that a certain number of hours are given to those that come out of our training programs. So we're trying to make sure we line up jobs with the opportunities. And so after they come out of training, they will have a job. All right. So real quick, because we want to make sure that this ends right at the top of the hour. You'll just see pictures of individuals that have gone through the training program, some of our mentors and life coaches that work with the individuals. Keep in mind, this is a multicultural program. It's open for all that want the opportunity. We don't want you to think for 1 minute that we want to overlook any community. And so as you continue to look at people, please send them our way. All right. Again, the last slide here, if you want to contact the Illinois Solar for All program, info@illinoissolarforall.com. The 800 number, or the toll-free number is 1-888-970-ISFA. You can reach me, Pastor Scott Onque, scott@faithinplace.org. We'll leave that up for the next few minutes for you to go ahead and copy that down. And so you can be able to reach out to any of the other program coordinators that are listed to the side there in the lighter blue. And they'll be also able to help you with any questions you may have. And we really do appreciate you joining with us for this hour of engagement around the Illinois Solar for All program. This webinar will be available on our website as well as our Facebook page for future views. So if you miss any portion of it, feel free to go to our website, faithinplace.org, or our our Facebook page, and you will be able to view this webinar once again, or share it with your friends and family members, or those that you may feel can benefit from the Illinois Solar for All program. And again, we thank you so much, and we pray that you have a great day and be blessed.